Denmark a prison? Then is the world one? A goodly one, for there are many confines, wards, and dungeons, Denmark being one of the worst. We think not so, my lord. Why then 'tis none to you, for there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. To me, it is a prison. Why then your ambition makes it one? 'Tis too narrow for your mind. Oh God, I could be bounded in a nutshell, and count myself a king of infinite space, were it not that I have bad dreams. Some villains become icons of the silver screen. In 1984, Wes Craven brought light to a dark character at the center of a new kind of story that would change the face of horror forever, celebrating 40 years of his biggest masterpiece, A Nightmare on Elm Street. We all know the story. Springfield had suffered a tragedy at the hands of a brutal killer. 10 years have passed, and the teens of Elm Street share a group nightmare about a burn-scarred bogeyman. Nancy, Tina, and Glenn talk about their experience. Glenn doesn't see the correlation, but when Tina is killed and her boyfriend is arrested, the police are satisfied there is nothing untoward. Nancy is unconvinced, and with her own close calls weighing heavy, it's up to her to find the truth and eliminate the threat. April 13th, 1984. We thought we had said goodbye to Jason, and critics like Roger Ebert proclaiming that the horror genre was dead. But from a history standpoint, horror will always rise from the ashes. November 9th of that year, like a phoenix from the flames, the most celebrated slasher since Psycho stepped forward. As the trailer proclaimed, a new masterpiece in fantasy terror.
No, I can never sleep. I can.
The company New Line Cinema had taken a big risk, and with its success came an aggressive shot of adrenaline to horror's burning carcass. Though this was a critical and box office success, critics' views didn't mean anything when it came to horror. The people still came in their droves. Horror never really went away. There were plenty that made 1980s horror a beautiful beast. Fright Night, The Fly, The Beyond, The Evil Dead, Day of the Dead, Return of the Living Dead, Monster Squad, Tenebrae, The Thing, Creepshow, Predator, Aliens. I could go on. There can never be an accurate top 10, and if I did, I know I'd be missing something, and someone out there would remind me. The beautiful cast: Heather Langenkamp, Amanda Weiss, Nick Corey, and Johnny Depp. Heather has become one of the most popular final girls. Amanda Weiss was part of an amazing cast of future stars in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Johnny Depp needs no introduction anywhere in the civilized world. I'm probably going to get this name wrong, but Sue Garcia, short for Jesus I think, explained in the Never Sleep Again documentary that he had to use the pseudonym Nick Corey because of the prejudice about ethnic actors. In the shadows is veteran actor Robert Englund, already a seasoned veteran playing small and supporting roles. In 1983, he was cast in the legendary miniseries V. playing against his usual type as the sympathetic alien Willie. Freddy came along between the two seasons and promptly changed his life. Just imagine if the legend David Warner had taken the part. But saying that, how would the runner-up to Jesse's role, Brad Pitt, had fared? One of my favourite scenes is this.
What is seen is not always what is real. According to Shakespeare, there was something operating in nature, perhaps inside human nature itself, that was rotten. A canker, as he put it. Now, of course, Hamlet's response to this and to his mother's lies was to continually probe and dig.
Before he was a filmmaker, Craven was an English and humanities teacher. The use of the two quotes, one is the setup, and two, opening the door to his academic experience, with his present and using it to blur the lines between Nancy's reality and her dreams. She's in class, surrounded by her peers, but a familiar voice breaks her from one conscious into another, and now she and us, the audience, question what is real.
Oh God, I could be bounded in a nutshell and call myself a king of infinite space, were it not that I have bad dreams.
It's been said that this is a nod to the classroom scene from Halloween. Laurie's conscience is interrupted by a man watching her from across the street.
Laurie?
Ma'am?
Back to reality. Nancy's conscience taking hold and nearly to her end.
Come to Freddy.
As I was looking through the reviews on IMDb, I had a shifty at the 1-star reviews, and this one caught my eye. A terribly boring nightmare to watch. I watched this film due to the hype, only to discover it was so boring. So little action, so much talking, endless pointless scenes and dreams. As for Freddy, he's great. But why on earth is he only in the film for like 10 minutes? So long-winded. A snore fest. Some good moments, but so dull for the most parts. Why would you watch horror for action? If you want action, watch an action movie. It's like saying Saving Private Ryan was crap because it doesn't rub your funny bone. It's not that kind of movie. My advice to people like this, for Christ's sake, don't watch Jaws or Alien. Go to screenrant.com. There's an article on Freddy facts. Quote, his original screen time was deliberately kept under 10 minutes. I mentioned Jaws and Alien specifically. The threats are few in order to enhance the tension. I remember a documentary on Channel 4 about 30 years ago discussing Alien and the original Elm Street venture, the editing of an antagonist watching within the shadows, and like a spider can step out and take their victims to the very edge of terror, kill and sneak back into the dark. Both so different, yet so connected to the audience by their execution. Brett and Tina, for example. What makes them is that they were going for broke. With enough imagination and creativity, and sequel be damned. In terms of Elm Street 1, 3, and A New Nightmare, are the movies. The other sequels, they are franchise pieces. And the franchise pieces, you know they're going to continue. There is no exclamation point. Not to say these are throwaway movies. Everyone has their favourite moments in each installment. And I'll mention this in other videos because I think it bears repeating. Think of Halloween 2. Michael has to die here. Halloween 3 came out, and a ridiculous controversy. 6 years passes, and Michael rises from the ashes, and it's game on for the franchise. Nightmare 2 doesn't have the feeling that it was going for broke, yet the fans had a feel for Freddy. That, again, they came in droves, and it was a much bigger success than the original, but left them feeling disappointed. And from those ashes came the best Nightmare sequel of the decade, with the return of Heather Langenkamp, John Saxon, and Wes Craven. And with them, Lawrence Fishburne, Jennifer Rubin, and introducing Patricia Arquette. As the franchise continued, Freddy would lose his edge. Rennie Harlin, the director of The Dream Master, who would go on to make Die Hard 2 and Cliffhanger, had this to say: "We've reached a point where the audience sees Freddy as the hero. They come to see these movies to hear his funny lines and to see him do those amazing things. And because of that popularity, I'm faced with showing Freddy in a more heroic light and giving him more screen time. People will still fear him, but they will also be cheering him on." I agree. Until the new Nightmare gave him back the attributes that made him bad in the beginning. The late 80s saw a TV show and the first load of comic books, initially published by Marvel, before changing hands several times until Freddy vs. Jason. Icon versus icon. Trapped in development hell for a number of years, until the turn of the century when the seeds were finally growing fruit, and in 2002 we got the barn burner that we had hoped for. And now we've reached the 40th anniversary. We look back at the biggest story of the 1980s and its much missed creator. For Robert Englund, he became the biggest horror icon of the modern era. The remake had millions thrown into it, but it couldn't recreate the lightning in the bottle. The 1984 movie is simply indestructible.
Tina? Tina? Who are you?